like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a Falcon. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees are Roger Goodell. Running like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. You're
listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. I'm Big Q. Shout out to the great Saint Tank and the entire Who Dat Nation, baby. We're one day from smacking down the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of crap talking is going on, baby. Let me tell you something. A lot of smacking, a lot of crap, and a lot of crap, and a lot of smack that's going on right now between both families. To keep it real with you, in a full $1.15, man, let me tell you, they talking pretty spicy about it. I'm like, do y'all, let me show you your depth chart here. Let me show you your goddamn depth chart right here. Let me show you right here. Let me show you. You got some holes all around in there, man. Might need to start calling y'all the Packers, man. My goodness, man. I mean, listen, you building, but listen, if it, you ain't there yet, man. Y'all ain't close. You know, the only way you got a chance is if we don't show up. That's it. If the Saints show up, this is going to be a knockdown, not if, but when. Let me correct myself. When the Saints show up, this is going to be a smack fest and a half. Let me tell you something, man. The Saints show up and they about that business. Atlanta, you ain't going to have too much to say about that, baby. Y'all don't have the tools to deal with the black and gold. Let me just keep it a full $1.15 with you, hear me? All right, shout out to the fam, man. But I appreciate the family members even more. It's always good, healthy to talk about the Saints and Falcons rival in this hate week situation. And accurately speaking, the Falcons do have that extra game on you in the all-time series, if you want to bring that into fold. But really, the Who Dat Nation has been dominant over the last some time. But it's always good, man, to talk Falcons and Saints, man. Always good. So shout out to all the Falcon family members in here, man. Shout out to you. It's all love, man. All right, big ups to the fam. Appreciate each and all, even y'all joining me on the special Coma Saturday edition. Couldn't do it Friday. Had some personal business had to take care of. But, baby, I'm here right now. And I won't hold you guys a long time today. So big ups to the fam. Hope y'all having a fantastic start of your weekend. It's an absolutely gorgeous day today. So I'm not going to hold y'all for a very long time. Of course, tomorrow, it'll be in full effect. Tomorrow we'll have the full out watch party, 4 hours of nonstop, the black and gold, diehard, Sports Coma, Great Saint, Tank, Who Dat Nation watch party. We up in the building, family. We've been doing them for a while, man, and we always have fun in the building. All the family members in there, they bring their food, the chicken and the drink, whatever you got. And I'm up here running my mouth talking mess. Shout out. All right, big ups to the fam. Miss Poppy 504. Be kind. Brother Trav in the building. Trav 504K Molinaire. Shout out to you. Linda, what's up? What's popping? Big ups to the queens out there. Young City Ninth Ward in the building. Brother Jerry, that OG in the building. What's up, fam? Brother Lamar's in the building. Good to see you. What's up, Rose? Shout out to you, fam. What's up, Mobo? Well, okay, Mobo Camp Records. Shout out, brother. Good to see you. I remember Is this the same Mobo Camp from back in the day? Way back in the day? Mobo Joe and all them boys. I remember y'all Man, y'all had it popping back in the day. Shout out to y'all, bro. All right, Hart, what's happening, fam? Shout out to you. Who that Dana? Much love to you. What's up, Randolph? My dog Randolph in the building. Big ups to you, fam. Appreciate you, bro. All right, much love to the fam. All right, who else we got? Trinity, shout out to you. Good to see you in the chat. GM Kev in the building. Big ups to my dog, GM Kev. All right, Brian Pearson, shout out to you. Beating SPS, shout out to you, fam. Ty, who that to you? Good to see you. Sir Rogers, what's up, brother? Shout out to you. Appreciate you being here. Coach Tab is in the building. 985 live in the building. What's up, fam? Big ups to you. Good to see you. Hope you're being safe on that road, bro. All right, who else we got? What's up, KB? Shout out to you. Good to see you. Mr. Who Dat is in the building. What's happening, baby? Shout out to you as well. All right, much love to the fam, man. I see y'all. Snake Bite, I see you, fam. Shout out to you as well, Brother Hart. Shout out to you. What's up, Dave? Shout out to you, my friend. Good to see you in the chat as well, Dave in the building. All right, who else? What's up, Paul? Good to see you, man. Uncle Deuce, how you feeling, brother? All right, Will 316, there you go, fam. Talk your ish, yeah. Shout out to you, bro. Frosty 504, what's popping, man? What's happening? Farouk, what's up, baby? All right, Woo, what's happening? Mar Javion, what's happening, fam? Popping to you, Linda. Shout out to you. 985J in the building. What's happening, bro? We got the 985 twins in the building. What's popping, fam? Good to see you, man. Hope everything going all right with you too, fam. Much love to you. Brother Brandon, what's up? Brandon Davis, what's up, bro? Shout out to you, man. I know all my peoples, man. Troy, what's happening, fam? Shout out to you. What's up, Kim, baby? Who that to you? Free game. I see you, fam. Much love to y'all, man. Doe, who that to you? Good to see you. Javier, shout out to you, fam. Much love to you. Big ups to everybody, man. Appreciate y'all. What's up, Brother Prime? Brother Prime in the building. What's up, Gary? Shout out to you, man. Good to see you in the chat as well, man. You know, I got to give a shout out to all the mighty Who-Dats out there, man. Because without them Who-Dats, man, we wouldn't be popping, man. We wouldn't be shaking, man, without you guys, man. So it's all good. What's up, Julia? Shout out to you too, brother. Appreciate you popping in. All right, fam. Much love to the fam, man. And in this one, fam, we're going to go over quite a few. I'm going to tune up another well-respected writer that's got a word to say about your black and gold. I'm gonna tune him up. Also got some other things that happened yesterday. We're gonna go over that injury report, and then we're gonna look at the depth charts and go over guys who got to pay attention to for the Atlanta. You know, we always do this, fam. Usually it's every Friday, and then Saturday I take off, and then the game is on Sunday. But this we kind of flip-flopping them days because I had to take care of some business yesterday. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all. All right, what's up, Otis? Shout out to brother Otis. Avis, shout out to you as well. Good to see you in the chat. Big ups to the fam, man. Y'all do me a favor. 504 Hot Boy, I see you, fam. Y'all do me a favor if you please. Please feel free, if you hadn't, to smash on the like button. Hit the like button for your boy. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, fam, and also feel free, finally, to share the show's links on your social media feed as well. We up in this thing talking black and gold, baby. So if you're a Saints man or woman or child, you need to be up in here because we're going to be talking some black and gold, baby. It's going down. All right, Travis, shout out, fam. Good to see you in the chat. So anyway, fam, let's get this thing popping and shaking, man. We're going to start off for a few things. I remember the Saints had some news, and this was broke by Nick Underhill. Shout out to Nick Underhill, always putting in work, man. Nick Underhill is the Who Dat Nation's inside guy. You know what I'm saying? He's the insider. He's our Ian Rapport, or whatever the guy, Rapport, or whatever his name is. Sometimes I can pronounce his name right. Sometimes I can't. But, you know, Nick Underhill is our Ian guy from, like, NFL Network. And he always comes with the scoops, and that's why we love Nick Underhill so much. So shout out to brother Nick. Shout out to all of the insiders and guys that's putting in work. Saints News Network. All them guys are absolutely terrific. Love them guys. That's why I always give them a shout out. Always share the articles and promote the sharing of the Canal Street Chronicles, the sharing of the Saints Wire, the sharing of things from Nick, the sharing of Saints News Network, because they are our voice. They're our voice. And when they talking the right way and they're giving you the good information, you got to put them up on your shoulders and you got to share them with the whole Who Dat Nation. You see, that's how it works, man. And that's the ones that I got love for, man. It's a couple others, but those that come to mind right now. So shout out. What's up, Professor? Shout out, fam. Good to see you in the building as well. Good to see you, Professor Ernest in the building. Good to see you, my brother. Yin, shout out to you, man. Much love to you. Good to see you as well. Pammy Whammy, what's poppin', queen? All my queens and kings of the Coma. Much respect and salute to you guys. Appreciate you being in the stream. So let's get it popping and shaking, family, if you don't mind, as we move right into it. And this is right here. Speaking of Nick, this was a tweet that he put out the other day of the players that the Saints tried out. Some of these guys I ain't gonna even attempt to try to pronounce. You ain't gonna have nobody up in here trying to get me for screwing up the name. Anyway, I'm gonna screw it up anyway. I don't give a damn. Saints tried out these players right here, as you can see. Bo Bizenchaw, or Chawel, or whatever, man. That's crazy. Of course, the Saints tried out a center, a defensive back. I'm gonna try it like that. A guard, a defensive back, Harrison Hand. What's interesting is John Trey Kirkland, man, a former LSU wide receiver. That's very interesting. I think John Trey Kirkland is very talented. Offensive tackle, Kendall Lamb. Guard, Coda Martin. Defensive backs, Jimmy Moreland and Trey Swilling. Trying those guys out, perhaps seeing what they got going in anticipation of perhaps signing one of these guys and maybe activating a guy from the practice squad, clearing a spot for him and signing one of these guys to replace him. So not really any big names to speak of that's on this list, except one of, Trey Swilling is the son of Saint Great Pat Swilling. I do know about Jimmy Moreland, the defensive back. He's all right. John Trey Kirkland is the guy that spiked, I'm kind of looking at, because I like John Trey Kirkland, a pretty talented wide receiver. So that'd be interesting if the Saints get a LSU wide receiver on their fold. That'd be pretty cool. And get rid of that dead weight known as Traquan Smith. Now, remember, Traquan Smith was a guy, man, I was big up in Traquan coming into the season. I'm like, listen, Traquan Smith, man, this is his, he been in here. He got a lot more experience than these younger guys. This is a supreme opportunity for Traquan Smith to get in there, make the plays. He might be able to surprise us. Traquan Smith in preseason games dropping touchdown passes. And then, but you bop the beam, Q, he can block, though. I'm like, man, no, man. And the brother hurt right now, matter of fact. So, anyway, we're going to take a look and keep it moving and bounce and shake. But let's get into that injury report we talked about, the final injury report. And, of course, they got some real interesting people that's on this final report list. As we talked about the fact that if you look at what happened with Adebo, and remember, family, I kept talking about Paulson Adebo, and I kept saying word on the street. Y'all know that's one of my favorite sayings when I say word on the street. And word on the street was, that I wasn't getting nothing from Paulson Adebo. People kept saying it wasn't nothing to be worried about. I'm like, yeah, it is something to be worried about. If you got 2 back-to-back DMPs, that's something, yeah. It's a very unlikely chance that Friday means if you go from 2 DMPs into actually limited and then into full game, that's not going to be a good thing. But as you can see right here on this injury report presented, that Traquan Smith, he had a shoulder issue, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened when he landed on that shoulder in that game trying to make that catch. He was slow getting up, so he got a shoulder problem. He was shut down the entire week. Dwayne Washington, who slid in there, they activated Dwayne Washington. He dealing with a hamstring, so they DMP'd him all the way up until it. And then, of course, you can see their status is out. The Paulson Adebo, which is a starter for the Saints, is listed as also, hence the term, the name of the show, Adebo out and Roby in versus Atlanta. So, this will be a position to watch because, the Saints can go a number of ways, but it's possible that as Roby moves into the starting position, the cornerback position, who operates at the other position? Is it PJ Williams? Did you put there? Is it Alontae Taylor? And remember, when you say, well, how is Alontae Taylor? Alontae Taylor is not listed on this injury list. So Alontae Taylor, by all accounts, should be good to go. So is this the game that we'll see Alontae Taylor at the nickel position? Time will tell which would be the correct call, at Roby outside with Alontae Taylor inside. So, and of course we know that Alontae Taylor hadn't played a lot of minutes at the cornerback position. He's gotten his practice on, but at the same time, in the city of New Orleans, being that we're saints, we do believe in baptism by fire. Yes, we do. Remember what happened with Paulson Adebo when Adebo didn't play football the previous year, and then the year prior, because of the C-19 stuff, and the year prior to that, he had the injury. Remember that? And the people were like, man, you gonna put that ball in there? And that, yes, we are. And look what it turned out. Paulson Adebo got on that position, and we got Roby because we were I ain't gonna say we, but we knew when you got Roby, like, get a man a chance. Let's see what he can do. I mean, not Roby, Adebo. When we got Adebo, that was the mindset. Roby was the reaction, the veteran reaction, because what happened was Saints traded out with the Texans to get him. It provided a lot of sturdy debt, and we thought that at some point that we end up would not sign Roby or trade him or something like that. But it actually worked. The Saints reworked Roby's deal, provided him valuable depth, and now if something happens, you got him to move into the cornerback position. Remember, this guy's played the cornerback position before. He can actually go to other teams and start. He has that experience. And then he didn't look too good last year because he came into the system at the trade mark, so he didn't have a full camp. This time around, he looked a hell of a lot better than he did in the previous year. So I'm looking forward to see what Roby can do with Paulson Adebo out that thing. Alontae Taylor could be the nickel guy, or it's PJ Williams. We'll see what it is. Maybe that should have been something I could have threw up in the chat there to see what's popping and shaking with the team from your perspectives. So anyway, that's what it is. And of course, behind Adebo, Landon Young, which is good depth at the offensive line, dealing with a hip issue. He was shut down and limited in his questionable designation. Mighty Mike can't guard Mike Thomas is there with a hamstring, limited all throughout practice, and has questionable listed right there. You can see Erik McCoy, who's dealing with a calf issue. Pete Warner, who is dealing with a groin. All those guys fully practiced, and they are clear to go. And then JT Gray, our special teams ace, was limited with a hamstring issue, is listed as questionable. Tyrann Mathieu had an illness and did not play Friday, but word on the street, he should be good to go for Saturday. Word on the street. Word on the street. You know, I always bust that word on the street. And of course, you look at ATL's mark in here, you see not too much shaking with them. Probably their most key player there is Drake London, a wide receiver dealing with knee issues. He practiced pretty much the entire week and is questionable. Now, what Lowe is telling me is that would be something that we would look out for going forward. Yeah, in Prime, shout out to you, bro. Yeah, I can see. I seen that stuff with Brady, man. I seen the Brady stuff with him and his wife and all this kind of stuff going on. Yeah, I knew. Remember I said that. Somebody said, nah, Q, that was his grand or stepmama or somebody sick, you know? I was in my head, I was like, well, dude, you got more money than most small countries. What are you doing? You know, and that's why I get on start getting on my seat, man. I get up on that stand, man, and start going like when I talked about the Drew Brees thing. And they always got to try to find something to do. You in your 40s, your mid-40s, you got beat upside your head playing football, and you one of the fortunate ones to make it out with your good sense. Your sense so good where you can go on television and talk and still be able to articulate the game. You were fortunate. You were fortunate because not too many of them that survived the brutal football lifestyle could do that. So if you had an opportunity to win some championships, get a jacket, which you basically get a pension forever from the NFL because you're in the Hall of Fame, which means your family's set up for the next, however long the league is viable, and they could pay out, and they got a Hall of Fame, and you are a Hall of Famer, you get a pension from these people. You done won the day. So you obviously done did well for yourself, and most of these people end up broken up, and they got to take some of the money that the attorneys or the scouts and the attorneys and their agents and people like that ain't got up out of them because they were stupid with it, or that they ain't overspent and bought things they shouldn't have been buying just to keep up that lifestyle. And you fortunate enough to still be able to have something. The rest of that money got to go to taking care of your ass because you all broke up. You barely could walk, crazy, head, all this head injuries and stuff like that, throw it off. So, when you actually get to a point, you need to go ahead on and say what you got to do and just move on and let it be that because you won. You got away with it. So these guys, man, they just be pushing shit. They ain't got no business pushing. But anyway, back on to this. So the thing is, the more curious names off that week, that outlist family, obviously, is Paulson Adebo. But we are deep in the secondary, so I think at some point we could be able to absorb the loss of Paulson Adebo, even though we would like to see him out there. But him not being that's not really a surprise for me, because when I seen Thursday's destination of what happened with him, or what they saying he DNP'd, I was like, he ain't gonna play. In my head, I said, he ain't gonna play. And it was like, oh, it ain't nothing to talk about. But yeah, all of a sudden it's a big thing now because he missing the opener. a little thing, it's nothing to be concerned about would be him ultimately being able to, he'll be DNP'd here, then he'd be limited, and then boom, he gets the questionable, which means he plays. You see? Because nowadays, if you go back to my old family, my old Saints brains or the old football brains, remember they used to have a probable designation. They got rid of probable. If you was questionable old school, you wasn't playing. But today's questionable is yesterday's probable. Did you get that? And questionable mean they will play. I hope I ain't confused nobody. But yeah, having Adebo out, but I think the Saints will be able to absorb his loss to a degree. We do have some good depth there in the secondary and a lot of versatility there too. So I think that we as a unit could be able to kind of absorb Paulson Adebo's loss in his first game against the Falcons. His loss, meaning him not being there. All right, so yeah. And Tyrann Mathieu, like I already told you, word on the street, he should be playing in the Saints game. So anyway, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a moving on that thing as we move on. Now, I want to share this stuff with you, fam. Let's go back and over this article right here from details from Erik McCoy's contract. We covered this the other show. And once again, McCoy got chipped off. He got broke off his paper. Total 2 different pads. And remember, we talked about it here on the show, 2 different pads altogether. And I was like, man, you need to take the Erik, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And it just shows you like 2 examples on how to handle shit, right? Especially with the Saints. One, don't say nothing. The other one, talk a lot of crap. One gets broken off and chipped off. The other one get traded out the door. It's 2 diverse pads here. And that if had the other guy took that approach, and I was saying that before then, I was like, I don't think this is going to work out to your favor, because you shouldn't have to feel like you got to force somebody to do something. You wouldn't like it if they forced your ass to do something that you didn't want to do. So usually when that happens and you don't do that with the Saints, then the end result would be negative. I told people that. And I said, you need to take the model that McCoy is taking, because he's in the same position. He's a guy that got 1 year left on his deal. Just be cool, play your game. One way or the other, you're going to get broke off. You just play your game and concentrate on that. You couldn't do that. Couldn't do it. But anyway, McCoy just became a very wealthy man. Shout out to Sigler from the Saints Wire, man. The New Orleans Saints starting center reached an agreement with the team on a long-term contract extension. NFL's Mike Garafolo reports will run 5 years. Garafolo adds the deal is valued at $63.75 million, carrying more than $40 million in guarantees. But the breakdown of the contract, in terms of years, looks like this. The total amount of incentives, which means the actual annual payout, may clock even lower than the $12.75 million it averages out to. But if that's an accurate number, it clocks in as the 4th best return for centers around the league. So he's a top 5er now. Just like Ryan Ramczyk's a top 3 in offensive tackle in terms of his pay. Now you got a top 5 guy in the NFL in Erik McCoy, and watch the Pro Bowls come. Don't be surprised if McCoy is not sitting on the Pro Bowl this year. Watch. But if it's an accurate number, it clocks in at 4th best return. Only Eagles veteran Jason Kelce, $14 million. Lions Pro Bowler Frank Ragnow at $13.5 and Buccaneers cheap shot artist Ryan Jensen at $13 million and getting more. And of that group, Ragnow is receiving higher guarantees at $42 million. Now, that's a good one, because that's all Ryan Jensen do is do cheap shots and do dirty stuff. Remember I told you that? I don't like Jensen. I've been saying when y'all watch the games, he don't play the game like you're supposed to. He does little dirty, underhanded stuff that I can't stand that guys do. Just a big, fat, dirty dog. And I called him out for that. But anyway, this is good. 5 years, it makes him a top 5 guy. What's up, BR Fitted 225? Shout out to my dog Papoose, St. John Butler. I see y'all, man. Ryan, what's happening, baby? L, I see you, bro. Shout out to you guys. Hit the like button for me, fam. All right, Maul, I see you, baby. So how does this impact the salary cap? We're still waiting on the exact details and the structure of the deal, but it's likely going to open a little room for the Saints in 2022. McCoy's salary hit was north of $3.4 million prior to guaranteeing or the agreement on the extension, most of which came from the $2.79 million base salary. Saints now kick a lot of that into future years and create more room for 2022 by lowering his base salary to the veteran minimum of $965 and paying him back the difference in the signing bonus. That would free up as much as just under $2 million in cap space and help facilitate minor moves throughout the season. Now, New Orleans was under the cap by $289 on Thursday prior to the new deal. So good for McCoy and the Saints re-upping the hometown talent. He just turned 25 in August. And what a hell of a birthday to have for McCoy. Now, to keep it real deal, because McCoy is the real McCoy. We got him now on a 5-year extension. What's interesting is the fact that you know how this deal going to go for this year. That contract, this annual year, this year, going to be cheap as a dog. Y'all know how? You know how Mickey does it. Mickey and Kai, they rolls it out in a certain way where they keep that first year extremely low so they can operate. And then, of course, next year coming, we'll see an increase because of the revenue that's coming into this thing. So shout out for that. All right, let's move on to the next article, fam. And this one right here is from Yahoo News, AP. Saints unveil attack run by Payton understudy Carmichael. I wanted to share this with you guys because I read this article. I just was doing some research and I came across this article and I just think it was absolutely fantastic. And I wanted to share this article with the rest of the Who Dat Nation and the Great Saint Think Tank. I wanted to share this with you guys. Now, this is AP, Brett Martell covers it and done a really wonderful job of talking about the parallels of Sean Payton and Carmichael. And I just pay attention and keep this in your collective when you hear people say they don't know what Carmichael is about. All right, AP, in 16 years that the Saints offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael worked under Sean Payton, they often looked at it if they were watching a different game from the same sideline. The combustible Payton paced around with an intense glare, his emotions pouring forth from an unhinged gasculations and sharp-tongued exclamations. The bespectacled Carmichael was a picture of cool, calm calculation, rarely raising his raspy voice, but their style and then their substance. This guy need to be writing novels, man. He need to be writing novels of the, Game of Thrones or some type. The cool cast be combustible. Yeah, that's pretty dramatic, fam, for sports writing, man. But all while Payton built their reputation as an offensive guru, as the Saints head coach from 06 to 21, Carmichael was among the best and the most trusted assistants in the game. Quote, I always felt like Pete was an unsung hero on the offensive staff. That's from Drew Brees, of course, who became the Saints' career passing leader between 06 and 2020. His personality is such where he's not just as vocal at times, and yet that mind is always working. That's Drew Brees talking about Pete. This is what Mark Ingram had to say about him. He said, Mark compares him to Carmichael to a mad scientist whose fingerprints are all over the DNA of the offense. While Payton and Brees were spearheading the Saints' assault on the offensive records, Pete was right there for all of that, Ingram said. When Payton retired, hold on, let me expand this out. When Payton retired after last season, the Saints promoted defensive coordinator Dennis Allen to head coach. Allen retained Carmichael, saying that he expects the New Orleans 2022 offense to be very similar to what it looked like around here in the past. Now, the first test comes Sunday when they take on the Falcons. Now, let me kind of highlight the rest of this right quick. All right, the first test comes against the Falcons. He says, and Brees predicted Carmichael would be ready. There is not anybody ever who has been more well prepared than Pete Carmichael. And I'm saying from every meeting, for every practice, for every game, said Brees, whose relationship with Carmichael dates back to 2002 when they were with the Chargers in San Diego. Both moved to New Orleans in 2006. Carmichael as Saints quarterback coach, Brees during the free agency. By 2009, the season of the Saints' lone Super Bowl triumph, Payton had promoted Carmichael to offensive coordinator. That title means considerably more now that Payton has moved on, succeeded by a head coach who oversees the defense. Obviously, Sean was the biggest part of what this program was, Carmichael said. This Pete now. It's different now, but you accept the challenge. You get excited about it. Now, Carmichael's elevation to New Orleans' principal offensive Coach should go smoothly if the 2012 is any guideline. All right. We're going to talk about it from a historical standpoint. That year, 2012, we're talking about, that year Payton was suspended in connection with the NFL's bounty investigation. Carmichael oversaw the Saints offense, right? Y'all remember that? Now, how did it look? How did Carmichael's offense look when Sean Payton was gone the whole year? Let's take a look at it. Carmichael oversaw the offense. It averaged almost 411 yards per game. This is with Carmichael over it because Payton wasn't there. 411 yards per game, ranked second in the NFL, only behind the Patriots, and the Saints averaged almost 29 points per game and ranked third in the NFL, with Carmichael running the damn offense. Let me say it again. For those, I don't know what Pete Carmichael offense gonna look like because Sean Payton wasn't there. Like, you can't go back. That's what I be saying. History could teach a lot of people if you're not a fool. If you don't have a retractable haircut that nature hits the button on and pushes it all the way back. That with Sean Payton not there, they're going to struggle. No, because you have a guy that's been there since Payton was there and in that room with Payton. Once again, for the Pete Carmichael and Saints offensive naysayers, this is history talking to you. Offense averaged in 2012 411 yards per game, ranked second in the NFL behind Tom Brady and them Patriots. The Saints averaged almost 29 points per game and was third in the entire NFL, and that's with Carmichael running the whole damn offense that whole year where Payton was suspended. Now, let's keep it going. They got more. We got some more stuff up here. Carmichael also called plays for a number of games in 2011 when Payton's leg was broken in a sideline collision. Y'all remember Coach Payton got ran over and broke his leg? That offense averaged an NFL record 467.1 yards per game. What are they talking about? See, this is what I'm saying. If you just do some research, you can find out the answers to all this stuff as opposed to just sit up there and look like a dumbass. I don't know what it's going to look like. History showed you in multiple times when Carmichael had an opportunity to run the offense. Look at them numbers. Them numbers is not behind the 20th and back to the 30th something. They're not middle of the pack numbers. Those are top numbers, top three numbers when he runs the offense. Let's keep it going. He said that offense averaged 467.1 yards per game with Carmichael. They say Carmichael will do well because he's done it, Payton said. It would be different if it was his first assignment. That's Coach Payton saying that. Breeze said, Drew, Carmichael is quick and decisive in his play calling as any coach he knows. He says that says everything about his ability to think ahead to what the next play is going to be. That's Drew Brees talking. Meanwhile, Carmichael's approach to calling the game is nuanced in a way that he considers not just down and yards to go or how opposing defenses deploy personnel, but also his quarterback's need for rhythm confidence. Come on now. Now listen, the reason why that's pertinent is because that mindset is a mindset that remember we talked about the analogy of Pete Carmichael taking the offense and tailoring it as a suit, like with Sean Payton and Jameis Winston in there. We know over time that Coach Payton took that offense and wrapped it around Drew Brees like a finely made tailor suit. He took him to the tailor, and the tailor took all the measurements, and then Drew Brees had a fly suit that he was wearing called the Saints offense. Well, after that point, when Coach Payton was there, that wasn't the same. The offense became like a store suit that you go to Mervyn's or you go to one of these department stores and Coach Payton and Jameis walks in and Jameis picks a suit off the rack. You took the suit, put it on Jameis, and Jameis stick out his arms like this. They got this much of the suit cups way up here, and this much of his arm is exposed. So no. Off the rack suit is not going to fit as well as one that's finally made because that suit was made for you. Your measurements, that was wrapped around you. So This is what Pete Carmichael brings with Jameis Winston, meaning that'll be a tailor-made suit for Jameis's, for his pluses. And the plays that Jameis is comfortable with, Pete Carmichael will give him those plays and will make that offense very comfortable for Jameis to operate. And of course, we know what Jameis can do in vertical attacks and stuff like that, but he still can learn how to do the things that he didn't do when he was in Tampa Bay and New Orleans. That's the part of the game that'll complete him as a player, as a quarterback, because some of the things that they were doing in his other stop, they wasn't doing down here. But just because he wasn't doing them there, don't mean that he can't do them here. He just didn't do them there. He didn't know. But now he's here, and you're going to see him in a new light insofar as how the Saints will employ him, because this will be the very first time, dispelling last year where he didn't have any competition for the job. It was his job outright, and that's a big difference, because he gets all those snaps and all that kind of stuff. Is belong and attention is on him. So let's finish up on this thing. Meanwhile, like we said, for example, Breeze explains, you've got to know as a play caller, you know what? I've got all these great plays on this call sheet, but our QB's struggling a little bit. I just need to get a play that I know he knows by heart. You got that? You got that? That means just what I said it means, which means that the style that's ran by Carmichael, his offense, tailor-made suit for Jameis, which means the fabric of the material of the suit that he's making in terms of the offense of the plays that Jameis is the most comfortable with. Did you get that? That's what I'm talking about. And when you need some confidence in a play, you're not going to just be calling a bunch of plays that he's not comfortable with. You're going to give him the most comfortable plays that he's really cool with. Jameis got plays. Listen, I like this one. 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 He going to get input in the offense. You see? As opposed to me telling you, look, Jamie, we're going to run this. Just go out there and make it shake. Make it pop. No. This time around, Carmichael's shaping that offense for Jameis. He's the man. So whatever plays, and he got plays that his favorites, they're going to run those plays to give him confidence and rhythm to get going. This was Drew Brees talking about Pete Carmichael, by the way. He says Carmichael downplays his influence and emphasizes contributions for the other staff. You see, he wants no credit. We've been saying that about Pete Carmichael, that he's a guy that wants zero credit. He plays to the back. You know what I'm saying? He ain't about all that rigmarole. He ain't up on the mic talking all the time like he Griffin or somebody. No, he don't want none of that. He just want to do his job in peace and give the credit to the guys. That's what Carmichael is about. He says we all get together. We all have ideas, Carmichael said. It's just kind of narrowing down the list to the volume that you can do for the game. Payton's system was inspired partly by the West Coast offense. For some of us, and we knew this here, that Coach Payton spent the West Coast offense and put his own spin on it and basically created something new, in my opinion. Yeah, he had some West Coast influences in that thing. That's true. That's true. But he took it and morphed it into something that the league never seen before. So Coach took it and improved upon it. Just like you have a refrigerator, and they used to have a fridge and they had a freezer. You know what I'm saying? You had the washing machine, and then you get the machine to wash the clothes, but then you still had to hang them up, and then they came with the dryer. You see what I'm saying? Or like you have fans in your house, like in the country, you got fans everywhere, and then somebody created the air conditioner. The principle and the concepts are there. I'm trying to cool this environment down, and then air condition. There is nothing better than air condition. Let me tell all the Southerners out there he give me a big thumbs up for that one. But it just improved upon it. It's like, it ain't the same like other places or inspiration where they'll take a stove that somebody else created and put a clock in the stove. Oh, I created something new. I put the clock in the stove. Yeah, I got you. But anyway, Payton's system was inspired partly by the West Coast offense of the late former San Francisco 49ers coach Bill Walsh. The scheme spread out defenses by giving quarterbacks multiple passing options of various distances, including dump-offs to running backs. The basis of the Saints offense from 06 to now, there's a good percentage that's still the same, just evolving and changing maybe to fit players, Carmichael said. To fit players. What players? To fit Jameis, because he's the most important part of the offense, because nobody gets the ball if Jameis doesn't throw it to him. So finding those best plays, that's why we get vertical, and we talked about the dump offs and all this. Now, all of the operate that type of offense to perfection, you got to have the proper people at play to be able to do it. Alvin Kamara, Alvin Kamara to me is like the top running back in the NFL. Per scrimmage, the man catches the ball. Just Kamara is the best in my book. Nobody touching Kamara. The hell out of here with the Taylor guy. The hell out of here with these other young running backs. Do it for 4 or 5 more seasons at that level, and then maybe you can enter the conversation with how great a guy like Kamara is and what he means to his team. An absolute weapon. Really crazy that people are not talking about Alvin Kamara much. He's a bona fide superstar running back that'll kill you. You can move around any part of the field, and they sit up here pretending like Kamara is chopped liver. How foolish you are. If you fools. Anyway, back to the article. All right, it says the base of the Saints offense from 06, I read that. This season, the Saints expect to have a strong running game led by Alvin Kamara. They also have the potential, thanks to return from the injury of top receiver Michael Thomas and the addition of receivers Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave. Look at all these people. And to open up the passing game with Jameis Winston to get vertical. You got people are considering Chris Olave the best, going to be a rookie of the year candidate. Peter King said that, and several other really high-ranking guys in the media are putting Chris Olave as the offensive player, a rookie of the year candidate. Why? Because they know he's ready. You look at him and what he was doing there. This kid is an absolute natural. He's a natural. And a lot of that's because of his own doing. A lot of that's tied to what Mike Thomas was doing, where he mentored him when he was still at Ohio State. Him being Chris Olave when he was there. Mike was with the Saints. And Mike Thomas wanted Chris Olave to complement him in this offense. So you get Chris Olave down here, and he's seen as a speed option right now, but wait and see. When a couple of years gets on him, he'll be a firstborn. He'll be a top-notch one for you because he runs slick routes. He's super fast, very slick. He'll spin you around, twist you around, and then he get up top of you. You won't catch him. And he's an excellent receiver catching the ball too. He toe tapping everything. Chris Olave gives it to you all. So he's fantastic. You add that and the slickness of Jarvis Landry as your slot guy. Man, get the hell out of here. They're not talking about this. The Saints did amazing things with Carmichael on the mic. Winston says, referring to when Carmichael's voice was the one coming through the earpiece in Bree's helmet a decade ago, so we all believe in him. And they said this season the Saints expect a strong running game led by Alvin Kamara. They also have the potential, thanks to the return from injury of top wide receiver Thomas, the additions of Landry and Olave, to open up the passing game for Jameis. Notes that Thomas practiced on a limited basis Friday and is listed as questionable for Sunday's game as he works his way back from midseason hamstring pull. Tyrann Mathieu also listed as questionable after missing Friday's practice with an illness. So this was good information to give to the family members for those who might have forgot, and to give them more ammunition for people that said we don't know what this offense going to look like without Pete Carmichael. Bro, we've seen this. We've seen the offense, a Paytonless offense, ran by Pete Carmichael when Payton was gone, broken leg, when he was suspended. And Pete Carmichael took over the offense, and in both times, in the times that he had, he was stellar because he knows what he's doing. And then to many degrees, people say he's more of an unbalanced play caller than Coach Payton is, because Coach Payton, is kind of the face of that thing. This is my stuff. You're gonna do it like I said. I'm gonna do it. This is my stuff. You're gonna do it like I said. We're gonna run this, that, there, and that, and the third. You're gonna run the plays. We're gonna run the plays that I want. As opposed to a Carmichael, soft spoken, says, listen, what plays you want to run? What are you comfortable with? We'll build this around you, because if we know you're comfortable with this offense, we'll have success. And that's what it is. Making it on your quarterback, making it really easy on your quarterback. So y'all remember those numbers, man. Let me say those numbers to you again. And matter of fact, if you want to find this article, the name of the damn article is called Saints Unveil Attack Run by Payton Understudy Carmichael. You take this article from Yahoo Sports and you shed it around to all these people out here talking about Payton gone. We don't know what it's going to look like. You got to have some effect, or he got to have some kind of negative effect, because Payton ain't there. He ain't there no more. So we don't know what it's going to look like. Yes, we do. You don't know because you don't do no damn research. You don't do no homework. It's been times when he wasn't there and the offense was stellar, So that's what I'll be saying with people, because they don't do their homework. They get up here and profess to know about the Saints. Who know about the Saints more than the Black and Gold Nation and the Great Saint Think Tank? Nobody. None of you national commentators who outside following the Saints understand there's history, there's statistics. This has been done before. when he goes and he's going for a long period of time, we ain't talking about a handful of games either. We talking about a full season. Him being gone, the Saints average over 410 yards per contest, averaging what, 29 points a game? That ain't no small fry stuff. All right. Okay, now. And look at the offense that Pete Carmichael has with Kamara, Jarvis Landry. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding? And Jameis in his third year, coming to his third year here. It ain't like Jameis just walked through the door. This is third year here. So anyway, let me keep it pushing, man, because let's get into this right here, fam. We know the upcoming matchup, Saints and Falcons. Sunday is tomorrow. It's going down, baby. We're going to be live. It's 12 p.m. Central Time is the kickoff time for the matchup. They're going to be up in Atlanta, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium out there, kicking it and doing it. As you can see, the matchup predictor ESPN does right here has the Saints with a 71% chance of getting the matchup. In Atlanta, just under 29%. There they picking them. You can see the line right there from them. I give a rat's patootie about. And of course, we already went over the injured people as well. Shout out to Brother Prime. He said, I see more use of fullback, tight end, and play action indeed. And we talked about that, and I was like, y'all know one of my favorite formations is the power I formation. The power I formation, I love it because it's a brutal, it's a dominate you setup. Thank you. Once again, thank you, Brother Prime, for that super chat. The power I formation is, that's one of the greatest formations that I've seen. The Saints ran it under Coach Payton. They had great success. That's when they line up, and it's like mono meets mono. We're going to drive this ball down your throat. You ain't going to be able to stop us. And then when the Saints start running with that thing and you give Alvin Kamara a fullback in the power I, as elusive as he can run inside the holes, outside, Kamara has that ability. And that just, I can see Carmichael doing that. That's why the fullback out like, okay, we're going to use that fullback like that. That'll work. So it's just fantastic, man, seeing that style of football operate. Even see the power I formation with a guy in the slot. Y'all remember that? The power I with 3 wide receivers that they used to run. It'll be good to see them bring that back. And a lot of times you see a lot of the plays that Coach Payton wasn't running anymore because he just didn't have the personnel to operate that. And in many of our greatest offenses, we had complete offenses where we had guys that could stretch the field. We had a possession guy, and we had a really good slot weapon, and they could not stop us. And then you had a guy out the backfield. Not only that, but the packages where you move and running guys in and out while keeping other guys afresh, that'll be another supreme advantage that the Saints will have because we have the depth to be able to push these guys on out of the way. So anyway, like we said, it'll be in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Y'all see the line right there. I don't care about the Hollywood, the Vegas crap as well. But this will be fun watching the Saints. And as they got here, Saints begin Dennis Allen era versus rebuilding Falcons. And of course, the Falcons don't like that word, but you got to say they are rebuilding. So the head-to-head series is 54 and 52 with the Falcons barely. We'll tie that series up this year if we keep our minds right. Last meeting, the Saints beat the Falcons 30-20, on January the 9th in Atlanta. Saints offense, this was old statistics, 28th ranked offense, defense ranked 7th this last year. Falcons 29 ranked offense against their 26th ranked defense. How bad? And listen, that was last year's numbers. This defense to me is not better than last year's defense. You had Olakon that was there last year, was there, Mr. Everything. That guy was all over the field. I don't know how you let him go. Then Deion Jones is not there anymore. Those are 2 big parts of your defense that's not there anymore. Deion Jones, bro, was a dude that probably one of the only guys who you can match up on Alvin Kamara and give him problems. Remember, Deion Jones would give problems to Drew Brees. Drew will think he'll have a opening right there, and Deion Jones is on it to pick the ball off. So having him not there, boy, that's a big plus for us and a big minus for them, let me tell you. The Olakon, man, that dude, man, or Lukin or whatever his name is, only thing I know is that brother was all over the field making plays for them, man. And for them to let him go, that was a big mistake. And then on top of that, they were 26 with them last year. Now both of them gone. Man, it's going to be hard pressing. Players to watch. Mike Thomas has not played more than a year, but was on track to go for the opener. Word on the street, he's good. 2019 trusts Thomas set an NFL record for catches with 149. Always like to hear that. He then said in a recent interview that he think he can do that again. Oh, you can't do that, Mike. That's impossible. And they're like, yeah, right, Mike, you can do it. Them the same guys that were saying that he wouldn't get the record before. So you don't have any interest. We don't have anything. You don't have anything to add there. So when Drew Brees was New Orleans QB and offensive guru, Coach Payton was the head coach. Thomas says he's eager to prove his best season remain ahead. Could you imagine that? Regardless of changes in personnel around him. Falcons player to watch. Marcus Mariota has some big shoes to fill as he takes over for longtime starter Matty Icy Hot Ryan. Mariota was number 2 overall pick by the Titans in 2015, but he's failed to live up to lofty expectations. In fact, Mariota hasn't started a game since 2019. God damn. It's 2020, Mariota. Good Lord. Damn. Spending 2 years as a Raiders backup. He actually did pretty decent there. Mariota said he grew a lot during his time in Las Vegas and is eager to put those lessons to use in Atlanta. Mariota is solidly locked in as a starter for now, but rookie Desmond Ridder could get a look down the road if the Falcons are struggling. Key matchups: offensive line versus the Falcons pass rush. 3-time Pro Bowl left tackle Teron Armstead left New Orleans in free agency. James Hurst will take over the key spot after spending last season as a reserve, who filled in at both the guard and tackle spots because of injuries. Now it's Hurst who's coming back from a broken left foot. He'll have the job of protecting the blind side of Jameis Winston, who's returning from season-ending knee surgery. Fortunately for the Saints, they'll be facing a Falcons pass rush that ranked last in the league with 18 sacks. It's not clear how the Falcons will be able to improve upon those paltry numbers given their bargain basement spending in free agency. The 2021 sacks leader was Dante Fowler, and he only had 4.5. And was let go after the season. So that's right, Fowler's gone too. What are you doing? What you doing? Key injuries. We already went over the injuries, and we know about the series game. Those Saints have a 4-game winning streak in Atlanta. 4 games we've beaten Atlanta in Atlanta. Overall, New Orleans has taken 7 of the past 9 meetings, 7 of 9. All right. Between the NFC South rivals, the teams split their series a year ago, each winning on each other's field. So, but what's the domination of the Saints and the Falcons? In the last 9 contests, the Saints have beaten the Falcons 7 of the past 9 games. So do we really have a rivalry here? We beat over the last 9 games. I'm knocking you out of here 7 out of 9. That ain't no rivalry. That's a decimation. All right, so and that'll be it, man. Amongst the rest of that crap, let's look at the depth chart. Now, the article gave us a little insight on guys to look out for. We talked about Marcus Mariota, and he's a guy that, of course, we want to pay attention to. Now, Mariota, last year, you can see his numbers right there. Those are numbers of him as a backup. He'll be the guy in there, 6'4", 222. He's 28 years of age. Listen, he got a little scrambling ability. So with the Falcons and Arthur Smith is trying to do, the head coach of the Falcons, is trying to take advantage of Marcus Mariota's ability to move around, to scramble and create with his feet, to kind of offset the Saints defense. We know ultimately that one of their biggest keys to victory, if you go back and look at last year's win over the Saints, was the fact that the Saints, their inability to defend the wheel route that was led by Patterson, who's the running back, the top running back. And I expect the Falcons to use, and Lowe told us this in the stream when we had him on, to use Cordell Patterson, Damian Williams, who came from the Chiefs, I want to say, and Tyler Algieri, who's a bowling ball running back out of BYU, to kind of mix those guys together in some kind of way. Because we know Arthur Smith is a guy that loves to run the football. We knows that. We knows that from, his time in various other locations when he was operating there, that he's a guy that believes in the power of the running game. So back by committee is definitely something. But Marcus Mariota is the guy we got to watch out for, because we cannot allow quarterbacks with some scrambling ability to give us problems. Now listen, Mariota, if you leave him back there, he'll tear you up, just like most decent quarterbacks would if you don't put no pressure on them. The thing is, the Atlanta Falcons and Arthur Smith is counting on the fact that the Saints have not had the consistent ability, haven't done a good job of it, and over the last several years of defending against guys or quarterbacks that have a modicum of athletic ability who can flee from the pocket and extend plays and create plays down the field. The Saints have not done well at that. Case study is Jalen Hurts. You've lost to the Philadelphia Eagles the last 2 tries because of the Saints' inability. One of the major factors, there were other factors involved, sloppy play, turnovers, otherwise, not the ability that the Eagles was able to run on you. But outside of those things, one of the main factors was our inability to stop a scrambling quarterback, and Hurts had solid games where he was able to leak outside the pocket and extend plays up the field, whether by scrambling for the extra yards or creating sometimes for a wide receiver to get a little bit more room or to break away from a play and on these little improv plays where he running and then the guy takes off and he's able to find him upfield, or he himself takes off and picks up that extra yardage to keep the chains going, keeping the Saints off balance and the defense on the field for more time than it wants to be. That has been, and there are other case studies that we've had over the last several years where we have not been able to successfully, as good as we've been, of defending against a mobile QB threat. The Atlanta Falcons know this, and they are trying to incorporate that into their offensive plan to see if they can move the ball on your defense. That's what they're doing. That's why you hear Marcus Mariota, they're trying to use him in a way where he can create plays or scramble and all these option thoughts and all this kind of stuff, because they're banking on the fact that you will not be able to defend a mobile quarterback threat properly, that they can create offensive plays that way. So that's the thinking on move him around and trying to make him utilize his athletic ability to get him and create plays with the option and all this kind of stuff. So that was the biggest question that I had for the defense was, did the Saints and Dennis Allen defensive coordinators, both Ryan Nielsen and Coach Chris Richard, did they put their brains together, DA, and come to a consensus on how they're going to eliminate mobile quarterback threats? Because guess what? We got all of them this year. You got Lamar Jackson, Tyler Murray, you got Jalen Hurts again, all the mobile, all the best mobile threats that you could have. You got the majority of them this year on this schedule. So you're going to have to figure out how to do that, and starts week 1 tomorrow against the Falcons. So that's their big chip ace in the hole that them people counting on, to be honest with you. That's why yesterday I was saying, or the day before yesterday, I was saying that Mariota, he would be the guy you got to watch out for, because they're going to be trying to emulate the success that mobile quarterbacks had on the Saints defense in the past. That's the tape they're studying. Now that we know that, let's move on to the next guy. Who's the other guy you have to be worried about that's not named Marcus Mariota, because he has the ball. He's the quarterback. It is none other than Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, and the Saints did a fantastic job against Kyle Pitts in previous stops, but Kyle Pitts got it on his mind this time around. He's a 6'6", 240 or 246, 250 pound tight end. He is an absolute terrific tight end. He only had 1 touchdown last year, but he has 68 catches for over 1,000 yards. He's a phenomenal talent, and probably in more than likely he's their best option. So the Saints will have to find a way to keep the kind of neutralize what Kyle Pitts is going to do in the offense for the Atlanta Falcons, because that's what they're going to go to. Outside of Marcus Mariota scrambling, Kyle Pitts is going to be a guy that he looks to. I guarantee you Pitts is their first option. It ain't Drake London yet, because they don't know what they got in Drake London. Kyle Pitts, they know for certain that this kid is a ball player, and the Saints will have to neutralize Kyle Pitts. That's when I get a little shaky on with Kyle and guys like Kyle Pitts. And shout out to Darren Waller, that got his money today, or was it yesterday? Darren Waller got chipped off. The Raiders tight end got chipped off and got a nice contract. So shout out to that brother. That brother came up from the bottom. He was a drunkard. We had to get his stuff together. And don't tell me that dreams don't come true, baby. Don't tell me dreams don't come true. So anyway, back to Pitts. He's a phenomenal talent. And what kind of one of the things that make me kind of upset it is that I wish Quan Alexander was here, because that's who I would match on Kyle Pitts. I would put Quan on him. But being that we don't have Quan no more, he's a Jet. And Eric Wilson, I think, would do a decent job against Kyle Pitts, is on the practice squad right now. And the only other guy you would look to match up with him will more than likely be a guy like Pete Werner, unless you move your nickel or use one of your safeties or Tyrann Mathieu or May they adjust to put him on pitch. You see, because you can do that too. But whoever it may be, you're going to have to neutralize Kyle Pitts because he'll be their number one option with the football. This kid is special, man. He's special. They drafted this kid last year. They got somebody good right there. All right, let's keep it going, family. Then, of course, on offense, once again, another player to look out for. We know Drake London will play in the game. He was their first-round draft pick wide receiver. They love these big wide receivers. It's like what they're trying to do is they're trying to create what Carolina Panthers did. Y'all remember back in the day when Carolina Panthers had Musa Muhammad and Travis Benjamin? Y'all remember what was the other guy there? Was it Musa Muhammad? I remember Travis Benjamin. It was the other guy. They had big wide receivers. They were 6'3", 6'4" guys. Then Tampa Bay did it when they had the 6'4", 6'5" guys. Well, that's what the Atlanta Hawks are doing. They're getting big targets, 6'6" Pitts. You got 6'5" Drake London, and he's another guy that they saying coming off injury, but he is a guy that they might be listening to that can big targets like that. And what I know about this kid, I think he went too high at 8. But what's interesting about this Drake London kid is that he has a huge catch rate. As you put it within anywhere with around him, he gonna get that ball. He gonna win the majority of them 50-50 balls. So the cornerbacks gonna have to be, if that assignment, more than likely to be Laddie Daddy. If he's on him, that's gonna be a good matchup to see Laddie Daddy. I think Laddie Daddy will win that matchup of Drake because it's just he's not a top notch name. We don't know what he can do, but I know I'm confident with Laddie Daddy covering them. And then, of course, we already mentioned the running back by committee with the offense. Cordell Patterson was the guy that killed you in the wheel route last year. He also did a pretty decent job in the running attack. Any rushing attack that the Falcons are going to try to bring, we got to neutralize that. The offensive line, in the previous article I read about the offensive line of the Falcons versus the defensive line of the Saints, that's a win for the Saints. The Saints will neutralize the running attack. I'm not really really that interested on it. We'll pay special attention to Cordell Patterson because of the wheel route and neutralize that, because them people going to try to use that wheel route because they had success against you the last time they played. So they're going to definitely try to incorporate that into this game plan to try to gain an advantage. And that's something we have to neutralize. But our defense against the offensive line, our defense wins that matchup. I think Atlanta's offensive line, they're going to have to prove that they can handle as opposed to with the Saints. We know the Saints going to put all the pressure on the world with them. And I know they got a few good offensive linemen there, but not a full line. You got 1 or 2 decent offensive linemen, but you're not all together. So interiorly speaking, I think it'll be problematic for them because they're saying that Drew Dalman is the new center there. And I got questions about Wilkinson. So we'll see exactly how the Saints implement it, but we know they'll get pressure on Marcus Mariota and how he handles that. Moving on to the 34 defense that they like to run. Like I've talked about in the previous stream, the 34 defense strength of the 34, you must have 3 really good down linemen to operate that type of defense. And those 3 linemen have to be able to kind of block up or occupy, that's a better term, the 5 offensive linemen that the Saints will have against their 3 defensive linemen. You're going to have to be able to occupy and take space so when our big offensive linemen can't leak off or then bounce away to block one of their linebackers. Because the way it operates is the 3 down linemen, they occupy the 5 offensive linemen for the Saints and allow their linebackers to roam around to make plays, whether that's blitzing, whether that's covering certain players, or just occupying certain areas of the field. Now, if the 3 base linemen of their 34 don't operate that way, and guys, offensive linemen like the Saints leak out off of them and they're singly blocked and they're able to go off and then hit some of those other linebackers and block them out, it's going to be problems. But even though that's their base formation, we know that they operate a form of modified nickel too. So we'll see how it all looks, but they have Rashaan Evans there. He's a guy that was supposed to replace what Deion Jones was bringing. Lorenzo Carter's a little older there. And most of these guys, they're guys, I know they like that Arnold guy a lot. He showed up for them in camp, but their defense is very much a question mark in a line. We know Evans is a good linebacker. We know Walker's decent, but the rest of these guys, they're going to have to prove themselves as a unit. And a lot of people anticipating Atlanta's defense to be one of the weakest in the NFL. So on paper, they don't look impressive at all. But I do know by scouting Atlanta, I know there's few playmakers on that team. You go into the secondary, AJ Terrell is another. He's a guy that's a solid cornerback. A lot of people don't like him, but I think he's a solid cornerback. He got toasted and burned his rookie year, but he's gotten a lot better in the secondary. They add Casey Hayward, who's a respected veteran that does help improve it, and Richie Grant. Really, the key to it is me and Lowe talked about that when they drafted Richie Grant. What was that, last year? And I told Lowe, hey, bro, that's a good pickup. He has to stay healthy. He has to be able to do what he's supposed to do to get that, to help their secondary out. But as you look upon their defense, you can see a lot of holes there. We know Grady Jarrett can play when his mind is right. We know Rashawn Evans can play. Let's see if he can fit in with that defense. And we know Terrell is a good cornerback, but they still have a lot of questions there on that defense. Graham is another, can he get pressure? So I mean, and then it becomes their defense against our offense. Who wins? Well, listen, that's Saints all day, man. You tell me if the Falcons secondary can guard Michael Thomas, because he will be playing give the bad news to the Atlanta nation that Michael Thomas will be playing in this game. Chris Olave is going to be taking the top off of that secondary. And then you will have Jarvis Landry out there and Alvin Kamara to worry about, and any other damn weapon you worried about. Remember, Taysom Hill ain't on the practice squad. Taysom Hill will be, on the injury report, Taysom Hill will be playing in the game. And Taysom Hill is a Falcon killer. Deontay Harty is going to be getting some burn in this game. Mark Ingram is going to get some burn in this game. So like I said, if it's our offense against their defense, your offense, the Saints offense win. If it's their defense against our offense, the Saints win. Why? Because you know why. You don't have enough talent to stop the Saints. Just keep it a buck. That's why we add Tyrann Mathieu. We add a Jarvis Landry, a Chris Olave. These are top-notch players with high-end potential. They bring high-level football to your squad. So we're gonna have to watch that thing. Now, we talk about the Saints secondary, and I'm gonna get to that when I look at when I bounce over to the Saints depth chart. But when you look at the rest of their team, the Saints on paper look better and they're a more talented team. Now it's up to them to turn that into a reality in the game tomorrow. We know they're a high-end team. And their special teams, Younghoe Koo, one of the better young kickers in the game. He's a phenomenal young kicker. He's super accurate. They got something good with him. And Bradley Pinion is not a bad punter. And then Avery Williams, as they return, man, he got a lot of speed. So you got to watch out for him, because I know they at some point will try to implement him as a wide receiver. Now, Almade Zachuis, I hope I'm pronouncing that brother's name right, will be an interesting thing too. Because remember, he had, just to mention this, because this hits me as I'm talking about the defense, to go back to the offense for the Atlanta Falcons. Remember, family, that Almade Zachuis or whatever his name, I don't have to know his goddamn name. He ain't on my team. But that guy right there had good success against the Saints last year. So did Russell Gage. Y'all remember that? They didn't have Calvin Ridley the last time, and they were able to get the win over the Saints because of Russell Gage's performance and Zachui's performance in the matchup. Now, then they added Brian Edwards from the Raiders, who's 6'3", who's a very decent wide receiver as well. So the end result is the Saints have to neutralize the running attack, which I think they can. They got to solve the problems that they had with the wheel route, because it just looked like at that time the Saints didn't have an adjustment for what the Falcons was doing with the wheel route, because they're going to try to revisit that thing. Also remember, even though Marcus Mariota is not even physically on the level in terms of his athleticism of a Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson or any of these other guys that we're going, or Jalen Hurts or any of these other guys we're going to see, he still has wheels and he can still create a dynamic where you have to account for him. If he didn't, they would not be trying to tailor these little plays or these little option style plays for a non-athletic quarterback. So you still have to account for that, because that's a severe weakness that the Saints showed last year. So we can't afford to have him doing any of that, which means we got to neutralize any form of running from the Atlanta Falcons, the Marcus Mariota packages, or the wheel route and the running attack by committee approach. Once we do that, we put the pressure on Mariota to throw the ball to those guys. And then that'll play into our secondary. Saints got to get pressure on Marcus Mariota and get him down on the ground. Bottom line, that's what it comes down to. and getting a win against the Falcons. As long as we respect the scouting report, as long as we come focused, if the Saints are focused and the Falcons are focused, it'll be a good game. But the Saints have way too much talent and too much ability to play in. I predicted the score of 31-21 against the Falcons. And I said that, I think, during when my boy Big Low from the Atlanta Falcons side of things was in the building. Let's look at the Saints depth chart, shall we? Well, we went over their depth chart. All right, here we looking. This is our squad. Jameis Winston at quarterback. Alvin Kamara is healthy, had his best offseason. Besides the Las Vegas stuff, Alvin Kamara has been absolutely I just can't give him any more credit than what I can give him. I mean, he looks absolutely ready. He's refreshed. He's comfortable. I mean, I've never seen Alvin Kamara so at peace. Like when you came into this season here, Alvin Kamara has been absolutely sensational this offseason, this preseason, into the training camp and into the preseason. Man, he's been absolutely awesome. Besides the Las Vegas stuff, everything else has been a tremendous plus for him. He looks special. He looks absolutely awesome in terms of his mental preparation, his spiritual, and his physical. He looks balanced. And I mean, he looks terrific. So shout out to AK-41, man. He looks terrific coming into this season. Mike is good to go. They got a questionable declaration next to his name. You know what time it is? Jarvis and Chris Olave are your wide receivers. There is no better tandem. Name me any better tandem right now on paper. We talking about on paper till they actually, because nobody played yet. But name me a better tandem of wide receivers in the NFL than Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, and Chris Olave right now. On paper right now. Obviously ain't playing no games yet, but on paper. I mean, it just has the potential to be something special. Tight end Adam Troutman, who's, man, listen, Troutman, a lot of Troutman detractors have to kind of pull that in. Because to be honest with you, family, the truth is Adam Troutman has been looking really crisp this offseason and in training camp. Remember, we covered it. We talked about him going to the tight end university, with Kelsey and Greg Olsen, former Patriot. I mean, not Patriot, Panther and Bear. Greg Olsen used to give us problems back in the day. He was there, and George Kittles was there. And Troutman went to that camp and, went there and learned some game from some of the NFL's best tight ends. So shout out to him. And he's been playing with a lot of confidence. He's been blocking his ass off. We knew he can catch, and he looks a lot more comfortable in his role. And of course, behind him, Taysom Hill is healthy. He's ready to be a mismatch nightmare for the Falcons defense. They're trying to roll out 3 good cornerbacks to guard him, and then you roll out Taysom Hill out there too. Man, come on, man. Taysom Hill, the Falcon killer. And then, of course, Juwan Johnson. A lot of people looking forward to Juwan Johnson's going to have a really good season. Juwan is going to be special for the Saints this year, and he's just, I mean, it's a young tight end room. But I like what I see with the tight ends. They have, I think they can be fine. They stay healthy. We got something going. And, of course, our offensive lines, where it is with Hurst, Pete, McCoy, Ruiz, and Ramczyk, they've been solid. They've been solid. When Hurst was in there during training camp and some of the preseason game that one of the preseason matchup, he looked good. Now, over the long haul of the season, that's a different question. So we just have to keep an eye out on that thing. But that's what the Saints look like from an offensive perspective. Defensive wise, we don't run a 4-3. They're saying it's a 4-3 here, but we don't operate the 4-3, but less than 5% out of 100% of the time. Where the majority of the time we're in a modified nickel. That was even kind of looked at too with Quan Alexander, because if they were recognizing if the coaching staff recognized them as a 4-3 defense, then we would still have Quan Alexander here. Because he wanted to start, and you say, well, we got a 4-3. That's 3 spots. You were one of them. But no, when they start refining it and saying, nah, it's a modified nickel, and we got 2 starters, that's when Quan left the door, because the Saints like, we're going to need you to take a backup role, might even play special team. Quan said, no, I'm a starter. So that kind of lets me know the 4-3 defense, if we do play that style of defense, it'll be less than 5% of the time. We'll operate mainly out of the modified nickel, which we can operate because that gives us valuable depth. Cam Jordan, Shai Tuttle, David Onyemata, and Davenport. So right now, John Hendricks was on, shout out to my boy Randolph on his stream, and he talked about, he's saying that Shai Tuttle, he thinks he has more of an advantage on Kentavious Street, but he favors Street over Tuttle. And I said, yes, me too. So I guess it's a neck and neck thing. We'll see what it does, but I would love to see Kentavious Street in that position. I ain't mad at Shy Tuttle. I just think Kentavious Street looks more, he's a more violent, mean, balanced defensive tackle than Tuttle is. But we're fortunate to have both of those guys in there, however it rolls. All right, Pete Werner, Demario Davis is the man. He's the leader of the defense. It all goes according to Demario Davis. I just thank the Most High that we got Demario Davis as a Saint. And then, of course, we pray for all of the overall health of this team going forward. But Demario Davis has been a blessing to the Who Dat Nation, because prior to him getting here, we were playing musical chairs at the inside linebacker position. You won't go back in the days and talk about guys like James Laurinaitis they brought here and all that. Oh, my goodness. All of the stuff we had to deal with before Demario Davis took that spot and has solidified it and made him, and just with him being there, has totally taken the Saints defense to another level. So I just much love to Demario Davis, much love. And then Pete Werner's there, and Pete is healthy. Pete was asking about the groin. The injury report revealed that Pete Werner is good to go. We said as much. We said word on the street, some real shit. And then, of course, the modified nickel version of the situation, you'll see Boston Adebo is out. Bradley Roby will occupy the spot according to the depth chart. They've yet to announce that, but I'm thinking Roby would more than likely be the guy. And listen, people feeling a little shaky about Roby, but Roby's a veteran. He started in the position as a starting cornerback before. And remember, I got confidence in Bradley Roby because he's looked a lot better in preseason. He looked good in the training camp. And I give you two more reasons why I'm confident in Bradley Roby and what he can do. Number one is Coach Chris Richard and what he was able to do with the defensive backs that we had here, and all of the miracle work he was done to have guys to elevate their games to whole new levels. Why would I not think he'd do that for Bradley Roby? He going to be ready to go. And then, of course, the other one is Ryan Nielsen, which we know Ryan occupies with the defense, but those guys put their heads together as like top and bottom, man. It's a whole nother level. So Coach Richard, I got faith in Bradley Roby because I seen what he did for people's games like PJ Williams, Ken Crawley, and others. And what he got with Laddie Daddy and took Laddie Daddy to an elite status. There is no more concentration issues. Y'all remember that. Remember when Laddie Daddy had Aaron Glenn down here? No disrespect to Aaron Glenn. But when Coach Richard came here, I said, fam, that's an upgrade over Aaron Glenn. Straight up. I said that, I said, because this guy is not only a coach, but he's a motivator. He knows how to get them guys up and get them ready to play. He's helped take Laddie Daddy's game to an elite level. That's what he did. Look what he did for Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo was a rookie playing like that last year. You see? So why would I not think, if I see what he helped do with those men, why I can't see him helping out Bradley Roby, who has experience playing the cornerback position? No doubt about it. You're fortunate to have Roby in this circumstance because Adebo's not good to go, and that's what good depth gets you. So I'm really happy about that. And, of course, behind him, you can pick and choose. Alontae Taylor could be that guy. It could be P.J. Williams. We do have some versatile people there. I heard somebody throw out Justin Evans could be an option. You never know. But at the end of the day, it'll be a cycle of either one or other. Maybe Alontae Taylor and maybe P.J. Williams. We'll see when the time comes. But I believe in baptism by fire. We did it to Paulson Adebo. We did, and it worked. I think Alontae Taylor is a person that we can see what these guys can do. So we'll see what the question is on that defense. Of course, you look at the depth of the Saints, which is uber important. Carl Granderson, Payton Turner, Tanu Passanio, and all the rest of these guys. Man, that'll be pass rush in waves and waves and waves. Like I always talked about the last couple of years. That's why the Saints defense is so nasty. They got the depth, and those guys come in there and they keep giving you the pass rush. Cam and Davenport sit down for a second and get some Gatorade and get a few whiffs of oxygen, and then you put in Passanio, you put in Granderson, you put in Turner, and then them guys up in there tearing it up while they up in there. Then Cam, them, and Davenport say, we ready to go back in, and then they keep the party going. It never stops. And listen, I said this before, family, from the observation, from watching the Saints defense in real life and then also going over film, them people believe, listen to me, them people believe that they can sack the quarterback on every play. Did you hear me? They believe that they can sack the quarterback every play. Do you not understand how powerful that is? How powerful that is, that they literally believe that they can get a quarterback sack every damn time the ball is snapped. That's how they play. That's how they play. That is so powerful. That's why they're a top unit in the NFL as far as the defense. You've got to have that mad dog, that crazy, not crazy, but that dialed in, focused, confident mentality, you know, as a defense as a whole. We can get to you every play if we wanted to. And that's how they play. Man, I ain't never seen only the best defenses in the NFL think like that. In history, I'm saying, that believe they can get to you on every play. Man, I'm telling you. And of course, our special teams are special. We and this is big. Because I know Will Lutz, he don't get the kind of respect and credit that he deserved. But here in the Great Saint Think Tank and the Who That Nation, Will Lutz gets nothing but love. Will Lutz is probably the second best. And I got to give it to Tucker, because I think Tucker probably is the best kicker in the NFL, just keeping it real. Tucker is the best. But Will Lutz is up there right here, 1A, 1B. Will Lutz is so important to the Saints, like a Jameis Winston. Because Will Lutz, if he's even close, he's getting you the points. You get what I'm saying? Will Lutz, we missed the hell out of Will Lutz last year when he had that core injury, and then he had the setback in the middle of the year about the same time Mike was supposed to come back. Man, we went on a shitty rotisserie chicken wheel of garbage time kickers that couldn't hit extra points. They were missing chip shot field goals, all of that stuff, man. And it's so cool and awesome to get back Will Lutz, who will get you them points. We would have won at least two games last year because of Will Lutz. If he was there, Will Lutz would have kicked you into a playoffs last year if he was there. That's how important he is to the team. And you really seen it last year when we had them awful kickers out there, and you couldn't pay them bastards to make an extra point or a field goal, and we was actually paying them to. So, man, listen, Saints, y'all listen, y'all thank y'all lucky stars that we got Will Lutz there, man, for real. And of course, Blake Gillikin, met him down there at training camp, man. Blake Gillikin. I had to tell you, Blake Gillikin, man, keep doing what you do. My dog Teal, I think Teal was next to me right there when he walked. Matter of fact, I think he was. Yeah, we got it on film, matter of fact. Blake Gillikin with several other people we met down there, but Alante Taylor, they were cool. But Blake Gillikin, we was talking to him, man, and giving him respect to his face and saying, listen, bro, you doing a hell of a job. You're going to be one of the best. You're going to be the best punter in the league. Thank you, Tim, for hitting the subscribe button. Shout out to Tim Whitcomb for hitting that subscribe button. Welcome to the fam, Tom. I thank you. Thank you, Tom Whitcomb. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you for smashing that subscribe button. Welcome to the fam. Shout out to Adebo, man. What's up, bro? Mocha, I see you. Dedrick, what's up, baby? Carla, I see you. Rainey, shout out. Yeah, Rainey, the third string ass kickers, man. You couldn't pay them, and we were paying them to make kicks. They couldn't even make them kicks. So in special team, I mean, you had extra points that they were missing. Chip shot field goals, family. We talking 25, 27, stuff within 30 yards. A professional NFL kicker supposed to make kicks that's within 30 yards. You are an NFL kicker. You don't make it to the NFL unless you have a certain degree of accuracy. You know, if that was the case, hell, I'll be out there kicking the field. And I ain't kicking years. But anyway, Blake Gillikin, man, shout out to Blake Gillikin. We told Blake to his face when we went down there to the camp that you're going to be the best. You're going to be the best punter in the NFL real soon. You're going to be the best. Yeah, there you go. Teal was down. As a matter of fact, Teal wasn't that ball when that ball was right there when we was talking? I think so. Teal will tell you. But yeah, man, that dude is special. And we were saying, man, listen, Morstead, he had 1 year of tutoring by Tommy Morstead, which is, in my opinion, the best punter that the NFL has ever seen. And that guy had him. So shout out to Blake Gillikin, Will Lutz, and finally Deontay Harty operates as the kick returner, punt returner, with Marquez Callaway as his backup. Harty reprises his role there, and man, let me tell you something, fam. I'm so happy because the Saints' depth is so grand and so awesome that we got guys like Deontay Harty who goes back to his punt return and kick returner role. The only thing is I hope that we can kind of, family for real, that he can kind of go back several years to his all-star form in the kick return, punt return game. So it'll be cool to see that happen. Thank you, Prime. He says SU will win tonight by winning or losing close. Okay, thank you, Prime. Yeah, we'll be doing the watch party too on the Tough Tiger Talk channel, fam. So if y'all want, go to Tough Tiger Talk and watch that or listen to it, we'll be over there. All right, Sir Rogers, thank you, fam. He says for the roasted Falcons dinner tomorrow. All right, thank you, bro. Shout out. All right, so yeah, family, and that's my take right there on that side of things, man. But the keys to the game, fam, finally on that, before we move on, let me just say this. The keys to the victory for the Saints. Now, I ain't worrying about nobody else, but the key to victories for the black and gold is simple. And I'm not being overconfident and cocky about this thing. I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm keeping it real. I like to kind of make, I'm a fair guy, so I give out fair. I don't just go over here and like, oh, the Saints is everybody, everything. I know what we're working with. If our squad wasn't that good, I will say that. But listen, the Saints are a talent, they're top 5 team in the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons is a bottom 5 team in the NFL. Bottom line, I don't mean to be disrespecting. And I'm not disrespecting you guys, but I'm saying in terms of talent, it takes talent to win. If you look at the Falcons roster, you see they got a lot of problems there. Losing Matt Ryan was big. It's because you won't chase Deshaun Watson. That was a bad move. Because Matty Ice could have retired there, or at least played another season there, and you would have had a little bit more flow to your offense because he knew what was going on. He could handle the business a little bit better than I think a Mariota would. But losing him, that's big. He was the star that kind of stirred the Atlanta Falcons drink. He not there no more, and you got a career backup in Mariota there who has injury concerns. That's problematic. Your best wide receiver is suspended because he gambling on games. That's Calvin Ridley. He was their best wide receiver. He's not there, and they did do by committee somewhat against the Saints with Russell Gage, who's going to Tampa Bay, and Zachuis, whatever his name is, that's still there. So they might, have a little something there. They might have a little stability there. But Deion Jones, their best linebacker, sideline to sideline. The brother's a linebacker who has safety speed, defensive back speed, covering back and forth. He was probably one of the only people, maybe a handful of guys, that I would say that may be able to keep up with an Alvin Kamara. And when you remember the games, Deion Jones was there. You know what I'm saying? Deion Jones was a beast. So you missing all of them. Those were stalwarts for your team for many years, many moons, and they ain't there no more. Oh, yeah, you going to miss them because you would damn sure need them against the black and gold. So what I'm saying is this missing out and losing that drops you to a certain level of there. And you got a lot of people there that got to prove themselves. Now, if you look at the Saints and the squad, we know that the base of the team is on guys like Kamara and Thomas and Landry and guys Cam Jordan and guys and Demario Davis, Lattimore, Tyrann Mathieu. These guys have a consistent pedigree, a resume of high-level production and play on the field. You don't have that over there. You don't have, and then those men bring with them the professionalism and the mindset that's needed to win the big games because they've been there. So, not trying to disparage Atlanta, but what I'm saying is the only way Atlanta wins in this game is if the Saints don't show up in this game. Meaning that the Saints don't do what they're supposed to do to neutralize the aforementioned things I said when I was going over their depth chart. Making sure they stop the running attack in any of its incarnations, whether it's with the quarterback, Mariota, or with the Patterson and all this kind of old stuff. Whether it's the version of the extended handoff where he'll just fire down a line of scrimmage to Patterson and he'll try to get yardage that way. You got to neutralize all of that. Take it away from him and then turn him into a passer and let him throw into that secondary and see what you got then. With the pressure of Cam and Davenport and Onyemata up the middle crashing down on your ass. You got to do that offensively. Defensively, I just mentioned it. So in essence, if the Saints show up, when the Saints show up and play their game, they should be able to dispatch Atlanta. They should be able to dispatch Atlanta. I'm just going to keep it real with you. No disrespect to Atlanta, but be real with yourself, man. You look at the Saints depth chart and what they got, and Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas is back, Alvin Kamara is the #1 back in the NFL, and all them people and what the Saints got on defense, man, no, oh, hell no. No, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. The Saints come to play tomorrow. It's going to be an all-out Saints affair. An environment, the Saints don't care about the dome, the Mercedes dome, because they've been beating them people in that dome. The Saints, and remember, for the people that don't know too much about the history, the Saints have beaten the Falcons 7 out of the last 9 times. I'm not saying we overlooking them, but when the Saints are focused and they know what they're doing and they're going out there and they're ready to handle the business, it's going to be a long day for Atlanta. So listen, I'm not undervaluing them people. I'm just saying when we come to play, it's going to be a long day for the other side. So there you go. All right, family. So with that being said, let me go ahead on bounce and flip, and I'm gonna play a guy from a writer, as it were, who had something to say about you. Let's bring this up. And it's not him. Don't think for a second it's this guy, because we did this. I just didn't change the thumbnail, but I'll put the thumbnail up here in a minute, and you can see what I'm talking about, and we'll play this interview from this well-respected beat writer. Y'all put 1 in the chat if y'all can hear this. Here we go.
About NFL here as the best football writer in the country. Peter King joins the program. NBC Sports, Football Morning in America. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing really well. So I don't know how you've done this over the past 3 years. I'll include the 4 years overall, because you 4 years ago you called before the season started Rams over the Patriots. Well, they both got there, and you have nailed the previous 3 Super Bowl winners. Like at this time of the season, it's very difficult to do. You're calling Bills over Packers this year in the Super Bowl. Do the Bills have any common traits from the previous 3 or 4 years when you pick your Super Bowl teams?
Yeah, what I've decided to do in more recent years, in prior years, I made these long checklists of what I like and what I didn't like about every team and all that. And honestly, recently I just said, look, I'm gonna pick the team that I just get the best feeling about all aspects of their team. I'm just going to pick the team I get the best feeling about. I'm going to pick them to win the Super Bowl. Now, I have not felt as good about a team, as I have with Buffalo this year in a long time. I just think they've got tremendous depth. They have the best weapon in the NFL at quarterback. As much as I love Patrick Mahomes, I just think there are so many things that Josh Allen does well. Throws the deep ball, plows over linebackers. I think he's going to be doing that a little bit less this year. Mm-hmm. But I just think there's a lot to like, a lot to love, honestly, about this team this year. So that's kind of what I've done. I mean, the weirdest one probably was picking Tampa 2 years ago, coming off a 7-9 season, even though they had Brady, in free agency. But my theory on the Bucs a couple of years ago was that the previous year, with Jameis Winston playing, he threw 6 interceptions and gave away the last 2 games. So they could have been 9-7, and ending the year hot. But instead, they just gave away games and finished 7-9. So everybody thought same old Bucks, but I just said they're not the same old Bucks. They got a really talented team. They just had a quarterback who gave too many games away. And now they have the ultimate quarterback who never gives games away or very rarely gives games away. So I like to try to pick teams or a team that I just feel the best about coming out of training camp.
Enjoyed reading all your predictions. This one surprised me. While I think the Saints are going to be a playoff team, you have the Saints as the 1 seed in the NFC. And how much is that with the moves they made, or is it anti-Tampa Bay with the Brady news and the injuries on the offensive line?
I think the injuries on the offensive line are going to be a factor. I can't tell you.
All right, let's pause it right there because that's the talking point. As you heard, this is a whole nother network. I don't know which network this is, but this is they saying, is the Saints a true contender, or is it anti-Buck talk because of the offensive line? I was saying this for some time now, is the fact that the narrative, remember, they can't operate without narratives. They call these little shows and everything got to be about a narrative. And then everybody has to be on the same page. So they get on code with the narrative. The narrative is the Saints will win because of the Buccaneers' injuries. And then later on, it becomes the Saints are winning because of Tom Brady's distractions. You heard it here first. I've been saying that because I've seen the narrative and I'm a narrative killer. That's what I do. I destroy narratives because they don't serve any purpose to anything that's possible or open-minded, critical thinking for society. Where we need narratives to beat into people's heads to tell you how to think. So I've been saying this for the long time, is that they're going to try to steal a lot of the glory from the Who Dat Nation, being that you have a farther superior team than the rest of these people. That's what I was saying about the Falcons matchup. Without saying it, I ain't want to be so rough with me, but truth is truth. You have a more talented team than the Atlanta Falcons. You have a more talented team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is what it is. They would say the same if they added Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu to their team, or if they drafted Chris Olave and put him on their team. They would say the same thing. That, we got this and we got that. And then they would get behind them and say, yes, that's true. You got Tyrann Mathieu. But only when he comes to the black and gold that you don't hear these guys. You don't hear them. So let's finish up on this and then we'll go from there.
How much of a factor, but they will be a factor. When you're starting a guy who you really didn't plan to play this year at left guard in Godeke, you're starting Robert Hainsey at center, who's never played a game at center in his career. He was a right tackle at Notre Dame. He never started a game at center. And then you got Shaq Mason, kind of an old standby at right guard. The injury with the Bucs that I'm just not really sure if it's going to be a factor at all. I think they have the best right tackle in football in Tristan Wirfs. And he missed a bunch of time this summer with an oblique injury. Is that fully healed? Is that going to be a problem this year? I don't know. But I look at New Orleans in two ways. One, I think they've got a top 5 to 7 defense right now. I think that they improved their receiver position mightily in drafting Chris Olave, who I think is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year, in signing Jarvis Landry to play in the slot. And then, obviously, they think they're going to have Michael Thomas back. Who knows what that holds? He's missed most of the last 2 years. But I think they're going to be, significantly improved at receiver. But here's the one stat about the New Orleans Saints. Get this. Since the Bucs signed Tom Brady, the Saints and Bucs have played 4 regular season games. All right? The Saints are 4-0. And every game has been more than a one-score game.
Wow.
The closest game has been 9 points. So, you at some point, you've got to say, okay, it's a horse crap division, top to bottom.
Yeah.
And the team that that seems to own Tom Brady and the Bucks, is a pretty good team too, and they're going to be a lot more explosive this year. So that's how I fell on New Orleans as the top seed.
Okay.
All right. So there it is. This is from Peter King, who they love and cherish and respect. And if Moses was a sports writer, I guess in their mindset, Moses would be this character. So shout out to the family members for the stream as we get ready to move on with this one. But the odds in the South is 11.5. The betting odds 11.5 for the Bucks, Saints 8.5. So Panthers 6.5, 5 for the Falcons. That's the betting odds. But he's coming out saying that this team here is the best, as the Saints are his pick for the number one team in the NFC. And he made the reference to the offensive line play, but then if he was a thinking man, a critical thinking man, like what people like to pass him off, then he would have thought about what he just said, because he contradicted himself. Where's the contradiction at, Q? The contradiction is, how could you sit up here and vocalize the problems that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers interior offensive line have, provide very accurate statistics about who's starting, who's not starting, and experience level and all this kind of stuff, and then turn around and say, I'm picking the Saints to be the top unit? Well, if you go back and then chart out the statistics as well, that the Saints beat Tom Brady 4 times in the regular season. They're 4-0 against Tom Brady in the regular season, and the closest win was a 9-point win, which was the shutout. What is that telling you? That's telling you that history is telling you, Mr. King, that actually that you got to get that right. That the Saints was going up against Tampa Bay, and they had a better line. The Tampa Bay line was starters when we was wiping them out in those 4 games. We was beating by more than 9 points each contest. Each game we was not. So why all of a sudden now that they don't have no offensive lineman, that the Saints is a pick to go there? You get what I'm saying? See, it don't take much. So you could tell me that they're 4-0 against Tom Brady, and then throw a really good stat in there that the closest game was a 9-point win, which just shows you just dominating them people. It's not close. And then turn around and say, well, about the Buck injuries. No. Go back and let history be your teacher, and go look at the offensive lines in each one of them games that we was beating them people by more than 9 points. Go back and look at it. They had a better offensive line then, and we were still beating them then by 9 points. So cut it out with this crap that they only gonna have a chance because they don't have because Brady dealing with his wife problems. That's his fault. That's his fault. Hell, your family should become before anything anyway. You got more money than most small countries do. If you're distracted, you don't need to be playing football. Get your ass out of here. That's your fault. Family before football, man. That's what it should be, right? Right? Who crazy enough to put playing football over their family unless you took too many shots to your goddamn head? No. You playing football because you want to benefit your family and get them set up correctly. So all this is wrong from that side in the get-go. The Saints was wiping out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they had Jensen at center, and they had their whole offensive line. When they had Ali Marpet and all these other guys there, we were still wiping them out. So at the Saints, so I just like to put some gravy on this turkey here and let them understand that, listen, let history be your teacher. Everything I'm saying that you can go and figure out for yourself and go look it up. Yeah, that was a great stat he gave, by the way, because I didn't know that. But now I'm gonna be using that in the next preview when we wipe out the Falcons and then we head into Tampa Bay. I'm gonna be using that little giblet of information. Thank you, Peter King. And then again, he said you number one. So with that being said, listen, I'm gonna to step out on that. Listen, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all for popping on in this thing. Much love to y'all up in this thing. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock, like I said, we'll be back probably. I'll pop up for 11:30 on the watch party, a little preview before we get it popping and going. I'll pop up in and then we'll get it going, and then we'll be with you for the summation of the entire game from 12 all the way to 3:30 or 4 o'clock. We'll do a post game. will have reaction there as well. It'll be fun watching the first, and we got some football to be tomorrow, man, and it's going down. So it's awesome, man. All right. Yeah, Hart says, TJ says, I would not be shocked if at all Brady doesn't make it through the entire season. If he has a choice to get his family back together, it's no brainer. Yeah, indeed, man. Because they're just going to use it as excuses where he's distracted and all this kind of stuff. He missed most of the training camp. It's family before football. That's what it is. It's family before football. It is. So he need to go ahead and handle that business, man. That's what he need to do. All right, Q, that's the excuse the media is going to use. I know, I've been saying it, bro. I said that, bro. I said that. You already know you're ahead of it. So you can look like a prophet and look, you look like Nostradamus or whoever it is when they come to you, because at the end of the day, that's all it is a narrative. And we see that's why they make these narratives up early so they can use them late. So you just got to understand what it is and just knock them upside the head and destroy the narrative. No, we're not beating you because your offensive line is hurt. We beating you because that's what we do. We beat you. What's the excuse of us beating you last year and the year before that when you had a good offensive line? Oh, well, you see, they just had got together, and you got to understand it take time for people to get together. You see, that first time y'all played us, we just wasn't all together, and we had to make sure that everything was what it was supposed to be. And the first time, we hadn't had that chemistry yet. So, that's how y'all won the first game. Now, the second game, we did a little bit better, but we can't, that first time, y'all had more time together than we did, you see? So that's how you got the win the first time. Now, the second year, we did a lot better. But you see, you got to understand that the previous game, we kind of had used too much energy. And what happened was we didn't have enough energy for the Saints the next game. You got that? And then the 9-0 game when y'all beat us in our building. Well, you see what happened there was the environment was a little too hot for us that day. And the day before that, we had ate some spoiled watermelon. And then we drank some purple Gatorade. And everybody know that's a bad mix. You can't eat bad watermelon and drink purple Gatorade. You're going to lose the football game. That's how we lost the 9-0 game. And somebody told me that Tom Brady absolutely, he was putting something up on the wall, and the thumbtack that he was putting his picture up, he made a mistake and stuck himself with, and that was reason why he wasn't into the game. You see what I'm saying? And now, when we play y'all in week number 2, I'm not making no excuses, mind you. All I'm saying is that we heard, Tom Brady and his wife going in it right now. They going through it. So he gonna be a little distracted, okay? So if y'all win, and I'm not saying you will, but I'm saying if you win, it's because Tom Brady, he had a problem with his wife and his children, and they left somewhere. I don't know where they left, but they left somewhere. And if he's distracted, you gonna end up winning the game. So that's what happened. You see, and that's what it becomes. That's what it becomes. Yeah, you can't drink purple Gatorade and eat spoiled watermelon. Everybody, that's a universal fact that you can't do that. And what happens if you eat spoiled watermelon and eat and drink purple Gatorade, that means that you're going to lose a football game the next day Everybody know that. That's a country fact. Ain't no country fact, man. Everybody know that. Okay, I hear you, brother. And you know what? We're gonna leave you alone on that, because you in your own little special world. All right, so with that said, man, I'm gonna pop out on that. I hope y'all had fun today, man. We talked for almost 2 hours. We recapped the game. Sorry I didn't come at y'all yesterday, but we had some stuff to take care of. But today I'm glad to see you guys in here, and we'll be back tomorrow for some more football, man. Saints Falcons starts at 12. The watch party starts at 11:30. We'll be in the building. For all my LSU and Southern people who want to watch or listen to the game, we'll be doing a watch party on Tough Tiger Talk. The stream will start around about 5:30. We'll have a preview, and then we'll roll into the watch party, and you can check it out with us. We'll go through the preview. We'll have the halftime and then the post game from Tough Tiger Talk, our channel. If you're looking for that channel, please feel free to hit the description section below for the link tree and go into the link tree, and you can find the Tough Tiger Talk link there. Nice and organized. For the rest of the family members, if you hadn't hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, just like Mr. Tom Whitcomb, who is a new member of the family member. So shout out to you, and thank you for hitting that subscribe button. And for the rest of the fam, and we'll see you tomorrow on the episode of the watch party. So much love to the fam. And I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Who that?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a Falcon. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Running like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
whothatdaily.com. That's right, the whothatdaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, whothatdaily.com is your site. The whothatdaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. Check out the Pro Shop. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform stores where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember,